Okay, so for your backfill, we've sealed the stockpile. Okay. Basically going to follow the ramp, not going to do any cutting, not yet anyways. Round about here, I'm going to start to take a little cut, just gently, just start to put that blade in a little bit, because what I want to do is I want to push enough material down so I can travel off it. Don't take too much. And don't be afraid as well, as long as it's not too steep. Try not to carry your material too far, because the further away you take the material, you've got to push it back in the hole. And what comes out must go back in and not more. So short cycles of work. So I could just feather the blade up there, allow the material to come out. What I normally do is, in case anything was stuck in it, I just drop the blade and just give it a little bit of a waggle. Okay? So I'll push myself a ramp off it now. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn round. Okay? I'm not counter-rotating either, because this ground's finished. I don't want to counter-rotate on it, so I'm just going to do a little bit of shunting, because I don't want to put dirty track marks in everywhere. Now on your backfill, there's a couple of ways of doing it. It's personal preference in my opinion. Some people will say to fold it in from the sides, some people will say to go straight through the middle. I don't think it matters. I don't really think it matters much, so I'm going to demonstrate both ways. So if I was doing it through the middle, cutting the slot straight through the middle, it's just basically the reverse process of what we've just done. We've just cut a slot out, formed a stockpile, sealed it all off, pushed ourselves around off the other end of it, turned round, and now we're going to push it back through. So we can either cut a slot straight through the middle of it, or we can bring it in from the side. So what I'll do is I'll demonstrate cutting a slot straight through the middle of it, how I would do it and why I would do it this way, and then I'll demonstrate bringing it in from the sides as well. So I wouldn't start from the bottom. I won't start from here, I'll start at the peak. So I'll come up the stockpile, and where the peak is, this is where I'm going to start cutting here, because I want a nice flat surface going through it, so I've got so I can transition in and I can push the material. What I don't want to be doing, pushing the material up, then diving the blade down and pushing the material down. Okay, so I'm just going to put a nice flat cut through it. And you want full blades as well. On your backfill, you need full blades. Because if you're not having full blades on your backfill, you're definitely not being productive. Keep cutting it. Okay, so the actual backfill itself is in the slot. So round about here, what I'm going to start to do now is I'm going to start to feather the blade up to allow the material to come out. Now we want to be putting it in about 300mm layers. So don't worry about your first couple of pushes when you put the material in. It's not going to be 300mm layers. But once you've built yourself a road through it, then you can start to cut it again. Now I'm diving down a little bit. I'll start feathering out. Slow the machine down if you need to allow the material to fall out your blade. When the material's wet like this, don't go too quick because you'll have voids everywhere, okay? Track it in a little bit. Use your tracks, use the weight of the machine to track it in. And the more I reduce the top of the peak and the stockpile, the further back I can come. I can come back a little bit further now. So new operators in the industry as well, if you don't know what type of material it is what you're working with, okay, being wet, sticky material like this is a good example of knowing how to excavate or grade it. There's a question in the test which states why does the Dozer operator need to have an understanding of the type of material which goes, and the answer, the model answer is basically because it can affect the way it's dozed or excavated. If you want more than that, it can affect the way it's dozed or excavated. If it's wet and sticky material, it's going to stick to the blade. It's going to change the way it behaves, and it's going to change the way you need to work it. So, as a rule of thumb, with wet material like this, because it can be clumpy, it doesn't fall out the blade like we want it to fall out the blade. So I'm just slowing the machine down a little bit there, just to allow the material to fall out the blade. So that's basically cutting yourself a slot straight through the middle of it. What you'll end up with then, you'll end up with two windrows either side of you.